Greetings again, my Guardian friends. Mano here with an exclusive hands-on impression and review video of the new ARCSTRIDER subclass for the Hunter in Destiny 2, as well as new gameplay footage of the ARCSTRIDER that released today. I'm at E3 2017 live on the ground, and I was one of the very few lucky players that actually got to use the ARCSTRIDER subclass in action at the Destiny 2 Activision booth. In addition, I was also able to play all the available subclasses at the event, including the Inverted Spire Strike, the Homecoming campaign, story modes, and multiple PvP games. I'll be adding even more Destiny 2 content to the channel over the next few days, so if you want to get the most relevant hands-on news and information, make sure to subscribe. Also, if you enjoy this hands-on review, then a positive rating is greatly appreciated. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you thought of the ARCSTRIDER subclass in action, or check out the other Destiny 2 videos that I've been releasing. And with that, let's get to it. First off, let's talk about how the event was set up at E3, as well as the things that we were allowed to use at the booth. At the event, the characters were locked into rails, so to speak, meaning that each console and monitor were locked into using only one character and subclass. You can see the edges of the subclass tree at the bottom of this picture that I took. Full picture screenshots of any kind were not allowed at the event, nor was there any live capture available, but you can clearly see that I'm using the ARCSTRIDER staff in the background. Here are the skills and ability subclass breakdown for the ARCSTRIDER trees. Between all the talent trees, the grenade types include the Flux Grenade, which acts exactly like it did in Year 1, except it does not give you a one-shot kill. It was my choice for the gameplay. Skip Grenades, Arc Bolt Grenades as well. And this ability looks just slightly different than it did in Destiny 1. It has a different icon. The jump types include the Strafe Jump, which is more of a mobile jump, Higher Jump, which acts exactly like it does in Destiny 1, and then Triple Jump. Blink is gone for all intents and purposes. This was actually my choice, was to use the Triple Jump because I use it as much as possible when I'm running my Night Stalker. Each class also has a new ability in Destiny 2 that is usable on all subclasses. There are actually two class abilities. The Hunter has access to a unique dodge that provides extra bonuses depending on which one you choose. Much of it feels a lot like Shade Step, but sometimes it felt like a combat roll at times. It can also be used to sidestep players when playing. There are two of those, and that's Marksman's Dodge, which allows you to reload the weapon when you dodge, and then Gambler's Dodge, which recharges your melee when used close to an enemy. In Destiny 2, the subclass perks are now sorted into two groupings of talents, abilities, and upgrades to help players easily define what type of tree and abilities they want to use. Only one talent tree is usable at a time, but all four perks in each tree can be used simultaneously. During the event, only the Way of the Warrior subclass was available for play. That featured Combat Flow, which recharges a dodge ability after a melee kill. Deadly Reach, which extends the range of a melee after a dodge is used. It acts kind of like a Warlock melee. You get a little bit of a longer reach, which electrifies opponents like you see here. Lethal Current, which makes the Arc Staff attack twice after a dodge is used. And then Shocking Blow, an arc damage standard melee attack. Opponents can also be electrocuted here. The talent tree that was not available at E3 was called Way of the Wind. It featured Disorienting Blow, a melee attack that disorients enemies when hit. Kills with Disorienting Blow instantly recharge the ability. Lightning Reflexes takes less damage when dodging with Arc Staff. Battle Meditation, where you recharge grenade and melee faster when critically wounded. Focused Breathing, which gives you increased sprint speed. Sprinting reduces your dodge cooldown. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to speak to any of those Way of the Wind talent trees because they only had one talent tree unlocked. Let's get into the actual review now. The first thing I recognized is that in the normal run and gunning situations, the ability and jumps together for the Hunter on the ARCSTRIDER feel much more like the Night Stalker than the Blade Dancer of old. The ability to sidestep and roll are very reminiscent of Shade Step. Luckily, we now have an in-game indicator over on the left side of when that ability recharges or cannot be used. That's something I've wanted in the game for quite some time, so we understand when we can use those abilities. Flux Grenade still tracks very well, very much like in Destiny 1, but instant kills, as many of us now know, are a thing of the past. However, after I stuck the enemy with the grenade, I was able to instantly pull out my hand cannon. I think I was using the Suros hand cannon, the kinetic energy one, and I was able to finish the kill. Being able to dodge for cover after throwing a grenade is a very strong ability with the ARCSTRIDER. Overall, the class, not surprisingly, is built for mobility, and for once, I feel like I'm not being outflanked by skating titans, even though I loved doing that when I was a titan. The class overall feels nimble, precise, and fluid. Now on to the super abilities. First up, it is significantly more precise to use than the Blade Dancer. The range for the abilities were higher as well. I was actually able to get a 3-piece kill when my opponents were bottled up in the area leading into the rugs room where the bomb was going to be planted, mostly because of the way that I changed my abilities, which we'll talk about shortly. I noticed that the ARCSTRIDER has kind of the feel of like ninjutsu. It has kind of like a Darth Maul feel to it, which is amazing. One of the favorite things that I like to do was actually use the Lethal Current ability, where you actually attack twice after using a dodge. So as you leap into battle, you use a dodge, then you can attack twice very quickly. It's a blast to see all your opponents try to hit you for a quick second, and then you quickly dodge and then hit them twice. It is possible at times to close the gap between these opponents that are at longer ranges. Don't travel in a straight line and use the dodges which are at your ability, and when you're using your super, those are recharged instantly. This class is very strong as long as you take advantage of the dodge abilities to get kills and then to recharge your melees and then chain it back to your mobility. Now, for some cues from some of the other gameplay that I took, I was able to play PvP twice during E3, and the second time I was using the Gunslinger class and faced off against an ARCSTRIDER using a super. The super from a distance can actually be handled. With some team shots, I was able to get a number of headshots on the ARCSTRIDER during his super, and along with my teammates' assistance, I was able to get the kill. The super's range has increased, but I would say that using positioning from outdoor areas to inside areas, it's possible for you to make a stand against it if you were at a large distance. Headshots are possible when the opponent is running at you using their staff, but when they're doing their dodges, it's very difficult to counter. Power weapons can be used here as well to take out the enemy shields, and then you can go to a kinetic weapon. That seems to be basically how things are running here in Destiny 2, is that those kinetic weapons are used as kind of like a finishing move. Just a food for thought, but I'll have a whole PvP tips and breakdown from the E3 build that I saw a little bit later on. My final thoughts on the ARCSTRIDER completely shook me from my thought that this was just going to be Blade Dancer 2.0. The abilities and the movements just seem to be much more active and original, whereas before with the Blade Dancer, all you could do was just swipe consistently and constantly with your Blade Dancer. There are actually different abilities and different mobility dodges that you can use that require some skill. I still recommend this class for any close-range PvP encounter. Think of it kind of like a Night Stalker in terms of a mobility, but like a Striker Titan in terms of those ability kills. While I loved using the Dawn Blade on the Warlock, I think that the Hunter is going to be on my list as my starting main character. It was a blast to use, and the only thing that might sway me is seeing the Sentinel Titan in action. I'll have more on those subclasses later. But guys, that is my hands-on review and breakdown of the ARCSTRIDER direct from E3, and I have to tell you, it was really cool getting to play all the different classes and to play all the different types of activities available. As soon as I have more content, I'll have a full breakdown of the Destiny E3 experience, which I can go ahead and put in a video for those of you who weren't at E3. And as much as possible, as we get closer to the beta, I'm going to be giving you as much information as I can on Destiny 2. As always, thumbs up if you found something in this video to be useful. Subscribe for the best and most up-to-date Destiny 2 information, and leave a comment down below if I didn't answer a question about using the ARCSTRIDER hands-on. I know that there are a lot of questions about this class, and the fact that we didn't get to see or capture any gameplay is a little bit tough, but I can tell you more about those experiences if you ask those questions down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, you goddamn gifts of mankind. Adios, ciao, and catch you next time in the universe of Destiny.